I'm gonna have to warn you up front. I'm gonna be spacey today.
Why?
We were at a concert last night. We drove all the way back from Rotorua. So I
Oh shit!
went back to bed. Got in. I drove back and we got to bed. Oh, I've got a funny. Well, the other funny. So we only got to bed about 2 o'clock in the morning, sort of thing. So
Oh shit!
we're all a bit spacey today in that house.
I was gonna say, I'm like, why is it? Fuck, why is it doing that? There we go. I mean, if you want to miss today this week,
Nah. Might as well. I'm ready to go. I'm full of the special sauce. Keeps me going.
Oh, that's always good. That's what we need.
Dorks Down Under.
Well, to be fair, I've got a new brisket. Not a new brisket. I've got.
So you said you got a new biscuit. I was like, what do you mean you got a new biscuit?
I've got a new smoker.
Oh,
and I've just made a brisket and completely messed it up because I've overcooked it. But it's a new smoker. I've got to learn it. It's got.
God, Jordan.
What is this? Right, for a start off, it was better than the first ever brisket I did make.
Okay.
Because the first one I make was like leather. This at least moved, But
Because when you make jerky while you're trying to make brisket, not a good thing.
I know. But at least So last one took me 3 attempts to get brisket right. So, the first one came out overdone. So I'll adapt and change my method and. Hopefully...
Normally, most people I talk to pull it off too early, and they normally pull it off. Early,
yeah.
and it's normally underdone.
I learnt my mistake from that doing it on my barbecue because I have a smoke box for the barbecue. That's how I learnt to smoke.
Oh, okay.
And it's very different going from a smoke box to an offset smoker. So,
yeah.
So very different kettle of fish, but at least it was cooked. That's the main thing, So anyway, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dogs Down Under, episode 14. 14?
14?
14?
Maybe?
Yeah, 14. It's 14. He said it. It's got to be 14 regardless of now. We are here. We are live. We're having fun. Today we're just going to be discussing crap. Probably end up discussing the Black Panther movie because I've been to see it.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen that yet. I'm excited for it, though. Like, I can't wait to hear all about it.
Well, do you want it to be spoiler free, my opinion, or do you want it as opinion with being...
I don't mind. I don't really care if there's spoilers. Like,
Okay.
unless it's something like insane. Like, for example, they bring Robert Downey Jr. back to life. I'm like,
no.
Things like that, I don't mind. But if it's something that's big, that's going to change the whole thing, maybe.
No.
If it's just going to be like Jeff became Black Panther, I'm like, don't care.
No. But yeah, before we get into that, though, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We also have our podcast available via Spotify, Google Podcast, and Apple Podcasts.
With Big Daddy Bezos.
Yes, we are cracking on, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ourselves out in the world. So far, we want to say that no 5 comments, Des, sadly. So
that's all right, because this episode I was going to make a formal apology because I've actually watched Dick Shark. And other than the first girl that did try to use her mouth to pleasure said shark, but the shark's about this thick, and watching her try to do it but be able to keep a straight face and be like all for it, that was probably the best part of the movie. And though they claim that it's not porn, every girl in its nude. Every single scene is just a girl nude.
Yeah, of course it is.
Sometimes it's sleeping with some like
shock
it
horror, Des. I am truly horrified by this as a prospect. Of course it is.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
So there is a list. There is a list of movies that I now put above Dick Shark from 2016, and the list is just here.
So...
Okay, so starting from the top, we've got all of them. And that's it. Yeah, so pretty much every single one. But
would my accurate description of would my description that I said was this scraping the barrel of Pornhub in a very specific section?
It wasn't even. It was weird though because it was like kind of like R-rated. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like I would even say MA rated, except for I don't know if watching a foam shark trying to pleasure a woman in what looks like a freshwater creek would be would bring it over to R. But yeah, watching this weird foam thing just floating, and it looks like they've literally just pushed it, hit record, so you don't see the hand, and it just kind of floated. And then the girl's going, with this foam shark just kind of rubbing up against her, and then you have a picture of this giant foam appendage. They just look ridiculous. Or with the first scene where he's like, "Oh my god, it's a shark! It bit my finger off," and then he went chop and then flush it down the toilet, which was the most random thing ever. And then it somehow got out into the creek and became like a full-blown shark.
Great, fabulous.
So
anyway,
it was as good as we thought it might be.
I think that's a good cutting off point, and let's move over to relevant movies. So anyway, I did go see Black Panther.
So we're going from the first best movie to this possibly the second best movie.
Right. Okay. Let's say this outright. Okay. One, do I like the original Black Panther movie? Yes. Very good. Chadwick Boseman is obviously OG. Yes, this movie had to deal with his passing, which is very hard because there's many ways they could have gone and done it. Now, the way they dealt with it in this, they dealt with it off screen, which in my opinion is a mistake. You know, it's off screen and he dies, and that's it.
Well, spoiler alert.
Oh, shock horror. But I mean, come on. But he dies and it's like, okay. Now, do I think that what they should have done is maybe change the plot line up to and he died fighting? Because all they had to do is have him in the costume dying. Although it would have been hard to justify because it's vibranium armor and all this jazz. But I'm sure in the wide world of the MCU, they could have got around it. Let's be honest. You know, there could have been ways and means, especially with the entire Namor thing. Maybe he killed it. I don't know. You know, you could have done it in a myriad of ways to get.
I won't lie. That was my guess. I thought Nimoy was going to kill him.
Namor was going to kill him, and blah blah blah. It could have worked, right? And it really could have. And the fact that he died off screen, and literally it's a very it's like, because obviously they need to address it immediately.
Yeah, ASAP.
It's literally like the first 10 minutes we're dealing with the death. And it's like, okay, you watch it, you're like, okay, you know, just as a little niggle, it just doesn't work because he dies off screen. He's like, well, is he dead? Yeah. If you're being the proper comic book heroes never die person, it's like, well, is he dead? Is he dead? Is he? Of course he's not, you know, because you don't see him die. It's like, we know Iron Man died because guess what happened? He died on screen.
So how did they actually kill him? That's my question. I was wondering how they were going to deal with
basically he gets a disease. Now, guess what question you're going to ask? I can already guess what question you're going to ask.
What was the disease?
They don't say. They say, he's got a disease. That's all they say. That is literally all they say. And it's like...
So he's been given all these magical powers. He's stronger than any man. He's fitter than this. And then they just kind of went with...
Well, this
COVID
is the thing.
Killed him.
The fact is that you watch all the... I mean, up until this point, you watch all the MCU. The fact is that you know that the purple flower, I'm calling it the purple flower, you know, the thing that makes him the Black Panther, essentially makes him a super soldier because we know that he's as fast as Cap, he's as strong as Cap, so logic dictates he's got the same regeneration powers that Cap has, because like Cap can't get drunk and blah 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 unless it's that magical whiskey stuff that the Thor brings along, which is like you know, and it's designed to like kill men in half a shot. You know, although that sounds like great whiskey, but by the by, you know, let's be honest, I'd have a shot. We'd all have a shot. Let's be honest.
Give it a go.
Just to you know, have a level. But so the fact is that you're like, okay, so all up until the MCU at this point, I mean, in the comics we know he's a man, and you know, who has some powers from magic sort of thing. So blah blah blah. But the fact is that, you know, they've kind of developed him to make him seem like he's this super soldier. He's basically he's a super soldier. Great, fabulous. But the problem is he dies to a disease. Now, fine, if you want to kill him off that way, not a problem. Name the goddamn disease. Even make it up. Nobody cares. Just call it. Don't call it to the disease. It doesn't help anything at all.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. It's like, oh, what? Why?
Like even if they had said that he actually passed from what he passed from,
Yeah,
would make more sense.
oh yeah. No, it's oh, that was the bit that annoyed me for the movie. And then of course, now in terms of the movie itself, obviously Chadwick Boseman died before they could film anything, which is fine.
Yes.
We understand it. So they didn't have any footage to maybe use to then maybe start off the movie differently. I get that, but they could have done it from, they can recreate voices.
They could have Princess Leia it.
They could have Princess Leia it. They could have voiced it in, him in the full suit fighting Nemo, or one of his minions, and his minions is trying to start the war, or something. They could have done anything, and they've used the special poison from Atlantis to kill him.
Yeah,
they could
have made sense.
Could have been anything like that, and it would have worked, because they explained at the beginning of the movie that I'm going to call them the Atlanteans, but they're not Atlanteans. They call themselves from Toko-chan, which is basically Atlantis.
Oh yeah, because they've given them a lot more of a South American kind of Incan culture.
Yeah, it's basically they go into the background of Nemo being born. Basically, he was Inca. When the conquistadors went over, and they brought the smallpox. They were all dying of smallpox, and then their serpent god told them to find this flower, which is essentially what Basque did. And so basically, and that's how Shuri, his sister, creates the new flower, sort of thing, because the fibers in this bracelet that Namor gives her have this flower, and therefore therefore she's able to make an actual new flower, but it's not exactly the original purple flower. It's really weird. But anyway, anywho, so that's
I thought he managed to save the flowers, like though he burnt them. I thought there was one that he saved.
There was one, but they gave it to T'Challa to make him the Black Panther again, because he was depowered when he had his fight. So there was one flower. There was one flower saved. It was then gone. There was no more flowers. But the rest of the bit, it's really good how, because obviously we've not got Chadwick Boseman. The rest of the movie was it was good as a movie. Now, was it a good sequel to Black Panther 2? No. Was it as good standalone movie from Black Panther? Yes, because what Black Panther 1 did is they introduced this entire array of characters. And it was quite good because you could go along, you could watch it. And of course, there's this tense thing, because obviously, it's like, well, this is Chadwick's legacy, this movie.
Yeah.
And what they do is they put little subtle comic things in here and there just to ease off the tension a little bit. So it's not like you're watching like Thor Ragnarok. You don't watch that. That's a big gas all the way through that. That's really funny. It's very different from the first two movies. Whereas this one was everyone's like, how's it going to be? All this jazz. But, suddenly these little drops just to make people laugh. And there's things like the leader of the ape clan.
Yeah.
Because you find out in the first movie, you find out in the first movie that they're vegetarian, but everybody thinks they're cannibals. And all this jazz. And he gets off one of the ships at one point, and he's just chewing on a carrot, and you just watch it. And he's just like obviously playing up to what was originally for the first one. So in terms of as a direct sequel, I don't think it works. But if this was a brand new standalone, if this was a variant, timeline, it would work. It really would. It'd be absolutely fine. It wouldn't be a problem, in my opinion. But
I think that was the hardest thing. Like that was the thing about this movie was that death. It was going to make it incredibly hard for anyone. And I think that from what I've been told as well, there are a lot of good things about it. And there's a lot of good things that come from it. We get to dive into a lot more of the deepness of the characters from everything that I've been told. But it was going to be hard to take that Black Panther part out and try to reevaluate it and try to make it anew with it also paying homage to this, but without paying too much homage that you realize that this is the sequel to this Black Panther film. So I think what I think they were hoping to do is put Black Panther in, pay homage to obviously Chadwick Boseman and the character and the legacy that he's built, and then take it into a different direction. And that's what I got told is what what was trying to do.
And I would agree with that. I think they did. I think they did Chadwick well.
Yeah.
I think it was done in a very respectful manner. It wasn't glossed over. I think if they tried to recast him, it wouldn't have worked at all.
Yeah, well, it's weird though, because on Twitter, I was actually just on Twitter on the other screen here, and there's a whole heap of stuff saying recast T'Challa and stuff like this. There's a few funny ones on here, like people are like redo T'Challa, and somebody's put here, who would you put? And he was like, I reckon Ryan Gosling would be good. And all these people have just filled it with hate, and I'm like, damn, son.
Can no one tell what a joke is? I mean, God
Yeah,
forbid.
well, it was obviously satire, and it's actually a French Twitter that says Daily Film News. Please note all these things, everything on here is fictional. This is a completely satire page.
Yeah. No,
So I think they're trying to be joking, but yeah, I don't think it went over well, and I think that with the character as iconic as this,
yeah,
I don't think it's probably a best thing to put in there.
I mean, obviously there was a lot of things. I mean, I know that there was lots of people from YouTube and TikTok who were saying like, oh, that people of non-black origin shouldn't be going to see the premiere at all. No, it should be, it should be reserved. And I don't agree with any of that. It's like, well, hang on. Black Panther was created by no offense, they were created by two Jewish men. I'm sorry at this, but at that point, it's like, no. I understand in the modern day climate, and all that jazz, but we're not going to get into that. I mean, that's a whole heap of worms. That's a whole heap of worms that we're not dealing with on this channel.
We are way too white to be having this argument.
Yeah. So definitely not. But I mean, there was lots of audience clapping at the cinema for certain bits.
Oh, that's good.
Which is good. Are you aware of the cameo appearance from a character?
No.
Okay. Do you want to spoil it?
Yeah, do it. We'll put a big spoiler thing on.
We're gonna have to put it in the title so people don't click on this, so they're aware. But yeah, basically, so when Shuri creates the new flower. She takes it to try and become the Black Panther, figuring she's going to go to the ancestral plane to talk with T'Challa and all that. But she ends up being in the throne room, it's covered in water and fire, and basically it's Michael B. Jordan.
Oh,
twist, because of course he was a Black Panther. He therefore goes to the thing. Funnily, if someone brought it up on TikTok today that I saw.
That's cool, actually.
And said that when Killmonger goes to the ancestral plane, when he's going through the ritual, he turns up to see his dad. But the one detail that I didn't notice that he has, because he rewatched it, was that on the windows there's bars on the windows, and wondering if he's gone to the ancestral plane, but his father is locked away because he betrayed what the thing of being Black Panther was.
Oh, that's
and I was
cool.
like, ooh. Interesting. So obviously there's this entire thing of, because basically the entire thing of when she meets Killmonger is, oh no, you didn't call out to your brother, you called out to me because you want to take revenge, and blah blah blah, and X, Y, Z.
That's cool.
And so there's this entire thing of, who do you think your brother's too noble? He's not going to tell you what to do. He's going to tell you to do the right thing, but you want to do the wrong thing. That's the reason why you've got me.
That's really clever, actually. Because I was wondering how they were going to do that. Because I'm like, are they going to astral plane and then obviously Princess Leia it, or how were they going to do that, or were they going to do it to like her father, or to something like that? But that's a really clever way of doing it, actually.
I mean, it was quite good. Obviously, there's all this fire and all this jazz going on. So obviously, now that I've seen this TikTok today about the bars, it's like, oh, maybe he's also segregated from the ancestral plane to keep him from interfering with any of the other new Black Panthers and stuff like that. But obviously, when Shuri takes this flower, she's not thinking pure thoughts at the time, and therefore this is the consequence.
Oh man, that's actually a really, really clever way of handling it.
Again, of course, she walks around the throne, and Michael B. Jordan sat there, and audience erupter. And to be fair, I was actually thought to myself, I thought, yeah, that's quite a good way of doing it. Actually, it was very good. So,
because I actually think it's probably better handled, and also builds up the film and builds up obviously the emotions of Siri in that moment, and it helps give you a
Shuri, no,
almost.
Siri, no, not the
I keep
iPhone
saying,
lady.
I know I keep saying the iPhone lady. How funny would that be? It's like Black Panther.
Very different
Yeah.
movie.
I know.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes, you may call me Black Panther. It's like Black Panther. Yes. How may I help you? Yeah, that would. Sorry, but
Oh,
yes,
anyway,
but I think it's good also, and it sets the tone of the film,
Mm.
and I think that's a really clever way. And no offense, Michael B. Jordan was amazing in that film. Like I
That-
know that when obviously Chadman first died, I do think there were a lot of people that were hoping somehow they could
well,
bring him back.
well, I remember seeing from many trailer reactions and all this jazz, and there was this theory going around that of the boat on the water with the and all this jazz. Because one of these requests was bury me at sea, like my ancestors who jumped from the boat who didn't want to be sold to slavery. Fine, get that. And so there was this thing of, well, somehow do they get his body back and bring it back to life and bring him back to life somehow?
That'd be
Therefore,
cool.
and therefore he's indebted and becomes the Black Panther. And there was all that.
Or you know, it'd be cool. What happened is Nemours people found him, somehow kept him in like incubation and healing him,
Yeah,
and he kind of became kind of like the White Wolf dude.
yeah, yeah.
And then what happened is then he turned against the people that saved him to go back to his people,
Yeah.
and then that's how the war erupts because that'd be sick.
No, there was literally. I think there was 1,000 ways this movie could have done. One thing I will let people know is stay around. There's only one extra credit scene, and it's mid credits. It's not right at the end, so you don't have to sit all the way through the goddamn movie. Thank God. Although sit round and listen. I have to say, Rihanna's song for it at the end is quite good. That "Lift Me Up."
Yeah.
Although,
Yeah, it's been playing all over the radios here.
although I'll tell you now is that while it was playing, I was like, this is going to be played at every single funeral from now on, isn't it? Because it's kind of somber and it works. And I was like,
But it's also quite beautiful and quite healing and cathartic. Because
know.
we've been playing it on the radio here like heaps. And one thing that I have heard that I've seen a lot of is people saying Annette Bening deserves a Oscar for this role.
Annette Bening.
So she plays the mother, the older black one,
the
mother.
Queen. The Queen.
Yeah, the Queen. Yes.
Yes, I would say, quite frankly, she does an amazing job in this movie. She sells a lot of. It reminds me of her performance. Reminds me of. Do you remember in Game of Thrones where you have?
Haven't watched it.
Oh my god! Oh,
Yeah, I know. I'm the only one in the world that hasn't watched it.
Don't get me wrong. You can watch every season apart from the last one because it's an absolute shit show. But but yeah, I mean, they have some amazing acting happens in Game of Thrones. But there's the head of the Lannisters. I can't think of
Hodor.
Aemon Targaryen.
Hold the door.
No,
Hold the door.
No, not hold the door. Not hold door. But yeah, there's some amazing acting. The elder woman of Highgarden, who's like grandma, and the head of the Lannisters meets, and you just watch them two across the table. Like, even though you can tell that this scene's probably been directed and snipped and cut and all this, you watch the scene. You're like, oh my god, this is two fine old actors here, just showing off a craft. And I thought that watching her performance throughout the movie was brilliant. It was fantastic.
Was it Annette Bening, or am I losing the? Is it the wrong person?
I can't remember.
Oh my god!
Oh,
We're gonna say this, and it's.
You got Wakanda Forever cast.
Yeah, I know. Annette Bassett. No.
Angela Bassett. Get it right.
That's it. Sorry. Far out, man.
But yeah, but
I've seen her in so many things. She's amazing.
One thing that was a bit shoehorned in for my liking was the entire Ironheart bit.
I heard there was going to be that in it. And I heard there's a few good scenes where she puts her arm up and she fires and then she launches back the same as Robert Downey Jr. did. And there was a few bits in it that they did say they tried to tie into when he first did it. But yeah, that was spoiled ages ago.
Yeah, obviously I knew she was going to be in it, but it's like you want to see how they put her in. Because obviously you can watch the trailer and see clips and it's not the same as seeing the movie and seeing the entire, how they're doing it. And it was like, it was okay. The problem is,
she from Wakanda or is she?
No, she's not. She's from Chicago.
Oh, nice, the Windy City.
So it all worked, apart from it felt like it was being shoehorned in, and he was like, "Oh look, we got a new Iron Man." And it's like, no, you can't just force this crap on us.
Yeah.
You can't just try and say, "Oh, here's the new Iron Man." No, it's not. There's not. We've already know we've got Rescue out there, who's Pepper Potts. We've got War Machine, who's still out there. Assuming
It would have been
Morgan Stark's gonna have an armor, who's the daughter. There's potentially Iron Lad, the kid who Tony helped.
Oh yeah.
In the
See, I would have thought the way that they did that was, how obviously my mate Siri.
Yes.
So she remember how she was running that that kind of
the outreach program. Yeah.
The outreach program.
Yeah.
I was thinking the way they brought that in was she was going to be that, and when Namor did attack and when they were in the shit, they were going to be like, "Babe, can you come help us?" And that was going to be how they got it involved.
No. So the way that they get her involved is basically she's the next child prodigy who invents a piece of tech for her university thing, which gets taken by the CIA basically to find vibranium in the ocean. Because at the moment, we all know that the only place you can find vibranium is Wakanda. But but everyone suspects worldwide that it can be found elsewhere, so they're trying to find it. And the CIA find this thing she's made for her university class and realize it can be used to find vibranium, which then leads to Atlantis, which then leads them to stopping it because, of course, they've got vibranium because there could have been more than one meteorite that hit the Earth and another one, 70% of the world's ocean, so of course it's going to land in the goddamn ocean, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, and it could have broken apart. The same meteorite could have broken apart.
There's 1,000 different, to be fair, the storyline works, but the problem is I don't like that it's been shoehorned in of, there's a child prodigy who's created this piece of tech. And it's like, oh my god, come on, please.
Yeah, because I was wondering how they would bring that in. Like, part of me thought that maybe with the mentoring and the outreach program that this person was able to obviously do something. I just didn't. Well, I don't know. I just
basically throughout that once they buddy, it then becomes a bit of a buddy cop film. Once they get her on board, and then suddenly it's like, oh yeah, she's here, and we're working together, and it's like, again, it's one of little niggles. As a movie overall, as going to watch an MCU movie, was it good? Yes. Do I have niggles? I have niggles because
I won't lie though. Like after obviously the Endgame one. I won't lie, I haven't actually seen many of the other ones. I think I've watched the 10 Rings, which I really enjoyed.
Right. Shang-Chi was good. That was quite good.
I really like that. And I've watched, and the only other one I've watched is whatchamacallit, is Black Widow. And other than to introduce her sister, say for example, I kind of went, I don't think it needed to be done. Like I felt like the character did amazing. I felt like we ended it on an amazing way we ended it. And then they put that in, and I'm just like...
Yeah, but it's because they need to introduce Black Widow and the new Black Widow going forward. Yeah. I mean, in terms of... Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings was good. That was a good movie. I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Black Widow was very meh. I didn't... was it okay to watch? Yes. Was it...
It was a fun movie, but I'm just like... I mean, I felt like it didn't need to be there.
Yeah, it was an okay movie. It's a good... Let's put this on tonight, have some popcorn, a couple of beers, job done. Fine. Great. Spider-Man No Way Home, great movie. Love that one because I'm a Spider-Man fan. I love that.
To be fair, that was probably one of the best Spider-Man.
Yes. But let's be honest, the only reason it's a great Spider-Man is because we have
it has all the Spider-Man.
We have all the Spider-Man. We have basically we have Spider-Man and we have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in live action, and it works and it's great and everybody likes it for
But
that
I actually
reason.
liked the way it was handled. That one, I really enjoyed the way it was handled. And it didn't feel like it was shoehorned. It didn't feel like it was forced. I like the fact that you've given this bumbling kid this kind of magical thing that can open portals. Obviously, the multiverse is kind of like all over the shop. And when he's like, I really want Spider-Man, and he opens it up and you see Spider-Man walk towards you. and then you notice he's slightly taller than he was, and he's not wearing a mask, and that hair looks weird. And then he comes into view. I'm like, oh, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
And even the bit where like him and obviously MJ are talking, where he like jumps up and he just sticks his finger to the wall, and I'm
Yeah.
like, it's kind of clever. And even the way that he obviously saved MJ at the end, the way that obviously they poke fun at the fact that they're a bit older and their backs are sore and they're not as young as they used to be. There was just a lot of really clever bits in that, and the
Well,
way that was handled just seemed like very effortless,
well,
and I really
funnily
enjoyed it.
enough, they were talking about how obviously like nowadays they're saying spider sense is actually multiversal level. So they can sense danger and blah 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 and all this jazz. But they're talking about the backsaw because they feel each other's pain. So
Mm,
it's like, yeah, funnily enough, I've always had a tight back as well. It's because matey boy ended up having a massive accident and really did his back in because he was trying to spin and landed on a car. He was shocked by
yeah,
it. But to be fair,
but
I think No Way Home worked really well because of course you had Sam Raimi who did the first three Spider-Man films
yeah,
come in. So he was able to tie it in beautifully with his universes. And it's easy enough to drag in emo. I call it emo skater boy Spider-Man, which is Andrew Garfield, which I actually quite liked. I think it was a bit robbed that he didn't get a third movie.
Have you noticed too, though, that the thing that I found is that the third Spider-Man movie with Eddie Brock, weak villain,
Oh,
didn't do well,
oh
and I felt like that was the biggest problem with that film is, especially, and the thing that Marvel has done is they have made their villains like absolutely epic.
mm,
Like you think about it, would Captain America have been as good a film had Hugo Weaving not played Red Skull? Hugo Weaving as Red Skull was
mm.
brilliant, like to the point where I actually thought he was better than Chris Evans. I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah,
And I feel,
I think that's where I think obviously the one benefit the Marvel Studios had is of course the one downfall they had is that they let all their IP go. Well,
yeah,
they left 70% of it go, which was bad. But of
yeah,
course they got to see all these films go out, and they got to see all the highs and lows. Like
yeah,
everybody wanted to see a Spider-Man film. Great. What people didn't want to see is a weak ass Venom. Because no offense, the problem is that we all grew up watching the Amazing Spider-Man on Fox Kids, which was
yes,
immense. And when you see okay, you see him in sleek when he's on Peter, he's sleek and his thing like that. But then he gets on Eddie Brock, and he goes, even though Eddie Brock's the same goddamn size as Peter, he doesn't look the same size once he's got the symbiote on him. No, no, no. When
no,
he becomes Venom, he's Venom. He's like
yeah.
rivaling the Hulk. That's what we want. Not
Yeah, and that
when,
was the
not
weirdest
when we
thing,
get
and
this. Yeah,
that's why I think what is his name? Tom Hardy's version did so well because it
yeah,
felt like Venom.
yeah. Because like you went from Tom Hardy, and then he becomes Venom, and guess what? He's gained about at least 2 feet, and
Yeah,
about another foot and a half wide, and massive muscle. And guess what? It works, and everybody loved the Venom film because guess why? Because it works. That's what we want. That's how we remember Venom. This is the
100%.
best bit, and that's the Venom we all love and know, rather than Spider-Man 3, little Eddie Brock thin weed kid
Yeah,
who then ends up getting the symbiote on him, and he becomes little thin weird parasite to the wall thing. And it's like,
yeah,
what the hell's this? you know,
yeah. I know.
and it just
And then he
doesn't
got
work.
destroyed so quickly, and it was
Uh,
like really lame. But that's the thing,
yeah,
and that's one thing that I've always said to people is I'm like the one thing that I loved about Marvel is don't get me wrong, the heroes and everything are great. The characters they've got to do them have grown over the 10, 12 years.
mm,
But the one thing that they've got so right is the villains.
yes,
And when
agreed.
the villains are weak, that's when the film is weak. Because, like for example, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3 had, I think it was Sandman and obviously Eddie Brock.
Yeah,
Those villains are weak, kind of bad. Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, loved him, but he
yeah.
had like Rhino and who was the other one?
Let's see. The first one was
Electro. He had Electro and Rhino and somebody else.
no. The first one was Green Goblin. No, no, it wasn't Green Goblin. No, the second one was Green Goblin and Electro. The first,
Yeah, it
the
was
first one was
Rhino.
The lizard, which
Oh yeah,
the only problem I have is that they did. What was his name? What's the actor's name? Reese.
that's what I'm looking at right now.
Reese Withers? No, Reese. He was in Notting Hill. I remember that.
Yeah, it was that weird dude. Yeah, that weird
Yeah, he's
dude.
the
from
weird
Notting
dude in
Hill.
Notting Hill. I'm sure I can ask my wife, and my wife will just, oh, it's him. But go on, Des.
I know his name's Reese Ifans, Ifans.
Recyphon. Oh, Iphans. Yes. Yeah, because he was
Yeah,
also in he's in one of my favorite movies called The Replacements. He's known as the Boot in the
yeah,
Replacements movie, which stars Keanu Reeves. Great movie.
yes,
for all those who haven't watched it, go watch it. It's
yeah.
amazing.
That's right. Yeah, because it was a lizard and it was Rhino, and then it was Electro and
Yeah.
Green Goblin.
I didn't like the first storyline to. Well, it's called The Amazing Spider-Man, which is the Andrew Garfield run.
Yeah,
I didn't like the storyline in the first one. The second one was better, but I didn't like the fact that the Green Goblin just wasn't good.
yeah. Green Goblin was super bad, and I felt
Electro was a bit weak, but it was better than the Green Goblin.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Electro to me felt like he's like I'm kind of a villain, but I'm kind of not accepting it, and I'm kind of not this. So he was really weak. And the Green Goblin, when you go from William Dafoe to
Yeah.
the dude that played Green Goblin,
Let's be honest. There couldn't have been another Green Goblin. You watch William Dafoe in Spider-Man 1. That is the Green Goblin, and that's the reason why they brought him back as the Green Goblin, because it's like, let's be honest. If you want to pick Doctor Octopus, you've got to pick Meaty Boy as well. That's it.
Yeah.
He's the only Doctor Octopus I ever want. He's great at it.
Yeah, and that's the thing though. Yeah, this guy, what's his name? Dane DeHaan is what it's got here. He's an American actor. And yeah, and he's been in a few things. Like I've seen him in multiple things. I'm pretty sure he also played a serial killer really well on Criminal Minds in one episode.
Oh, you mean Green Goblin from the second?
Yeah,
yeah.
But like, he just felt like a kid that kind of got corrupt. And then you had Electro that was kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of a baddie. I'm kind of not. And when they brought him back, like I'm like, I do love Jamie Foxx, but I'm like, how are they going to play this? Because I don't feel like he was a great villain. And you didn't really connect with him as much as you did, like, say, for example, Sandman. Sandman was kind of a villain. He kind of wanted to find things for his daughter, and that was his driving force. You kind of had this connection with this character. When they brought Electro in the first time, I was like,
well, you know.
But then when they brought him in that film, in the new one, I was like, they seem to have found where he sits. They seem to have found like just giving him some kind of balls and just being like, this is where his driving force is. He is how we finally developed this character. And because of that, it was like, yes, I like this Electrode, and I'm glad you brought it back. But like, yeah, like the giant lizard.
It did. I think it did take 2 attempts to get Electro right. I mean, to be fair, I relate to Sandman because obviously I can't walk down the street without falling into a sand trap that's got a giant electrostatic nuclear laser that's firing down into it. I mean, it's hard. Walk on city's just covered with them. You got to be careful.
It happens, man. Like, I mean, like, I think it happened to me on Thursday. Like, it's one of those things where it's just common practice. But like at the end of the day,
that's the only thing that's the most ridiculous bit of that entire movie. It's like,
yeah.
So hang on. He busts through this fence and lands into this gigantic open thing that's going to fire this deadly radiation crap into this sand pit.
Because at the exact same time,
there's no other fence around this. Are you kidding me? What kind of
there's no security.
What kind of backyard science operation are you running here? It's ridiculous, man. I mean, God.
See, if for example, if he was doing if he had, for example, some kind of bloody experiment in a lab where he was, I don't know, trying to radiate these special scorpions to get this special venom to be able to heal his daughter or whatever.
Yeah.
And then what happened is, due to that, the sand that was underneath was able to get radiated, and something happened. I'd be like, that makes more sense than him just do. Oh, there's a hole in this fence. Whoa. Oh, look, it's about to fire right now and nobody's around to stop it.
Yeah, no, it is ridiculous. It
like
is the most ridiculous
some
thing.
of them are dumb. Like some of these backstories are dumb.
But it's I mean, there was a rumor a while ago saying that Andrew Garfield might get a third movie out of this.
It would be nice. It would really be nice.
I think it would be good because we know there's a bit more of a story because he talks about how he stopped pulling his punches and all this jazz, which means that he might have started killing villains and all that jazz, which would have been interesting.
See,
But yeah.
I would just like to see him do that. Plus, oh man, I just have a love for Emma Stone, so I'd love to see her back in some capacity, even though
I
she
actually
can't
thought that
because she
Emma
kind of
Stone
died.
would be a great Spider Gwen. Yeah, sorry,
Oh
not
yeah,
either Spider Gwen or Deadpool Gwen.
have you seen
Gwenpool,
it? Like
Gwenpool.
they've done these ones where they've shaved the side of her hair and dyed her hair blonde in like these.
Yeah,
Like I think Boss Logic did one and something like that, and she looks sick, and I'm like, yes. But yeah, that
I
would be
think
cool.
if you were to do, if you wanted to do Spider Gwen, I think she would immediately work as a fit, and especially now given the MCU has variants and all this jazz, it would work
Yeah.
very easily. Let's be honest.
Well, it's still Sony because I've just saw something the other day that I think the Sony and MCU have come to an agreement again, and Spider-Man's actually going to appear in the Daredevil movie. That
Oh,
was only
what you
like
mean the new? You
yesterday.
mean the new TV show that's coming up?
Well, it says the Daredevil movie. I thought it said
No,
on
no,
there.
it's. I know Disney Plus are doing. What's it called? It's called Daredevil. Born Again. That's it.
Oh,
Daredevil
okay.
Born Again. It's called, and it's basically Disney Plus's version of Netflix's Daredevil. Obviously, they've
Oh,
got the
okay.
same actor, so
I thought it was a
I'm
movie.
assuming that they're gonna do it. I'm assuming it's going to be in a very similar style to the She-Hulk series that's just happened. Which
No, no. According to this,
okay,
it hints. Oh no, it says so. It says that it's rumored that he's going to come in for Daredevil. I mean,
okay,
sorry, he looks like he could be part of Spider-Man 4.
okay. Huh.
And there's rumors, and also it could kick off the. Oh no, sorry, it could kick off the aftermath of Daredevil Born Again. So sorry, yes, no. So
Okay.
it looks like he may appear in Spider-Man may make an appearance in Daredevil Born Again,
Yeah.
and then that may end in where Spider-Man 4 leads in.
Okay. All right. That'll be
So
interesting.
sorry, but that's what the rumors are at the moment,
But
and
yeah.
that was only out like a couple of days ago.
Okay.
So I was
That's
like,
interesting.
ooh,
But yeah. But no. But so yeah. Basically, getting back around to it, Black Panther is a good movie. I would happily go watch it again. As I said, it has some funny moments in it, and it has the post credit scene is good. It's good. It sets it up. It doesn't have an immediate setup satisfaction though. It's not like, oh, then need to watch the next movie sort of thing.
yeah.
You know,
It's it's not like yeah,
But but to be
like the
fair,
Hulk walks back out.
that's the entire of Phase 4. The entire of Phase 4 is well, someone brought it up today on a TikTok saying that isn't every movie or TV show is pretty much Phase 4 is setting up passing of the torch. So
Yeah.
like you have Endgame where you see Cap passing the torch to Sam, who obviously
I'm
has his
actually
series.
excited for that.
So there's
I
all
actually
and it
really
kind of
enjoyed that
works.
series.
I kind of get all the passing of it. Kind of works, but yeah, it's interesting. But I mean, I don't want to spoil the post credit scene at all. That's one thing I won't spoil because
Okay.
that was quite good. But yeah, but definitely it was definitely a good movie, and I definitely say it's worth watching.
Yeah,
Definitely.
because it was one thing that I do want to go eventually to the cinemas, but it's just with COVID and everything. I'm just like I'm
Oh
still
yeah.
nervous about that
Oh
stuff.
well, I was about to say I've heard this week because I had we would work. We had a health and safety meeting, and we got all made aware of all your situation over in Australia.
Yeah, yeah, I know. So it looks like there could be a new wave coming out or some crap, and I'm like, fuck.
It's all
Like
right. We'll just stick you all in lockdown. It's fine. And then my dad
Jen,
can
yeah,
get
'cause
over here. You know, just keep the airport safe so my dad can get over. Job done. Fabulous.
to be fair though, we're getting really good at lockdown here in Melbourne. But yeah, no,
That's not a
it's
skill you
weird.
want.
I know, like we had 4 cases at work this week alone, but we do so many rat testing and stuff, and so we get free rat tests. They go around and they rat test. Like I'm so used to having stuff shoved in my nose right now that I honestly think that eventually brain matter is going to come out. Like it's got to. Like at one point, like I reckon it's just going to have to leak because we have a team that actually goes around and they go to departments and they'll randomly test people.
Yeah.
So finances is on a Monday. The only person in it is me. So they always do this, but then they also send random emails to certain people, and they have to go to the hospital next door and actually get a PCR test as well.
Okay.
So you're like, oh my god, like yeah. So I'm getting so good at taking these tests that, mate, I'm a professional. But
Dude, that
yeah,
sucks,
it's
man.
getting weird. But yeah, I don't know. Like it still worries me just a little bit. Like I still wear masks everywhere, and though it doesn't happen with a lot of people, I'm like, I just don't want to risk it. Like I've got a friend that's got long
Yeah.
COVID, and yeah, poor. Like I feel horrible for her. But yeah, so she's got long COVID, and because she has a certain gene and also got long COVID, it could mutate her MS.
Ooh,
And
right.
there's already like, so for example, like she had to get tests because her mum had it and stuff. So she gets tested every year,
Mm,
and it's elevated by 4 times in the last 8 months because of it.
Jesus.
And I think there was a research done by Queensland University that had noticed that I think it was MS and something else can also be triggered by long COVID. All these genes will mutate. And I'm like, oh God. So now it just makes me even more nervous. Like, I don't want that. I
No,
really don't want that.
I think it's just one of those things. I mean, obviously you keep yourself safe and all that jazz. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it's
I
gonna
mean, that's
be
the thing though. Like,
it's something
it's,
that I think we're all gonna have to live with and deal with these days, sort of thing going
yeah.
forward. You know, and it'll be funny that you just know that I was saying to Ellie ages ago that you do realize that if Edward ever has, you know, if one day he does have he has a child, we're gonna, you know, we'll probably end up getting asked by our grandchildren, what was it like during the COVID times? And it's like, oh,
It's like, you know how granddad sits on the couch and can sit there for hours?
we did
That's
that.
what he did for a
We
whole
did.
of COVID.
We did that a lot, you know. But it's just gonna be one of these weird things that we're gonna. There's gonna be at some point you do realize there's gonna be these history periods where we
Yeah,
talk
I know.
about the pandemic.
We're going to become part of history. It's going to be
There's
so
gonna be
weird.
this. There was the global lockdown that we all went through, and it's gonna be like, oh my god, we're gonna become history subjects. This is weird, you know. But
What I don't find weird too, though, is all ass countries are fighting over the most stupid, illogical shit. And then something like a small virus from eating a bat. It may or may not be that. But like what I'm saying is this small virus was able to bring the entire world together to
Mm.
get us to work together to try to understand this. I was like, which means that it can be done.
Oh
So
yeah.
why the fuck are we still
Oh
fighting? Why the fuck
oh
are we
yeah.
still being greedy and knobbish? How about we just go, you know what we did for COVID? How about we band together and try to save the world?
Oh no,
Like,
that's the funny thing is when that happened, and then literally within I think it was within 6 to 8 months it was that we had a potential cure or a potential
yeah,
vaccine and done, which normally takes what is it? No, I think they normally say it's normally 5 years sort of thing, but it was accelerated. Obviously,
yeah,
it
yeah.
didn't go through as rigorous testing and blah blah blah. You know, all the usual jazz. But the fact is that happened in 6 months, and it's like, well, hang on. If we can do that in 6 months, what else can we do in 6 months? If we all
Yeah, I
just
know.
get together,
If we can
we all
pull our
get together
finger out,
collectively, just for the shits and giggles. What can we else can we do in 6 months? And then all I thought of is, hang on, are we creating Star Trek? Are we creating the union of the planet? Because that's essentially what Star Trek is. It's about a human race suddenly goes, oh, you know what? We can be one race. We can be one together. We get ourselves warp drive. We get ourselves to space. We then suddenly get, you know, invited in and we help people. And then suddenly,
I mean,
and it goes to the moon after that. And it's, you
it
know,
would never happen. We are too greedy as a
oh yeah, no,
country.
oh no,
Each country wants to fight and seems to want to friggin' rule something. And I'm like, okay, even if you're the ruler of, I don't know, space travel, then what?
oh
Like,
yeah, no,
like,
the
how about we get the betterment of the world? Like, I don't
nah,
know,
never happening.
stop hunger. Like, no offense though, not to mention because money is this arbitrary thing that we get and we earn. But like, if countries are like, oh shit, hey Jim, how much money you got? He just opens up his wallet. He's like, I've only got $20. Can you just ask the World Bank to print us some more? It's like, how does that work? Like,
Mm,
so we're in debt to this World Bank that literally doesn't have money. They just have the right to print money, and somehow we're trillions of dollars in debt to this
well,
made up bank that
yeah.
governs over nothing. That can just be like, you get some money, you get some money. I'm like, how about we work together and stop all this stupid shit?
Well, yeah, no, I remember before. I mean, what was it? It was about no, it might have been a year before we left the UK when Greece was in a
Oh yeah,
massive recession, and like people couldn't even go to the bank to get their money out of their accounts
yeah, that's
because
crazy.
you know, and the ATMs wouldn't dispense it because they weren't allowed to, and all this chat. And there was all this big hoo. And then obviously we went through lockdown, and me and Ellie discussed it. We're like, so hang on, what's happening in Greece? because they were already, they were already in the ship before we
Yeah.
left. So God knows what's happening, because obviously we're not privy to. It's hilarious once you move from the northern hemisphere down to the southern hemisphere. Like it's like a
Nothing.
communication blackout happens at the equator. It's like all that information out of the equator suddenly,
I don't even know if it's that, because we still hear about Asia. So you kind of got the Asia, South Pacific there. So we hear all about that, but Europe, America, kind of like, no.
Yeah, no, it's like sorry. So it's maybe not the equator divide. It's like a
Yeah, you get a globe, and whichever side you live on, that's the only side you can hear
yeah,
from. And you're like,
it's kind of a bit weird, but yeah, but it's really funny. Sort of, that's one little thing that we sort of discovered. It's only when
Yeah.
something absolutely goddamn major happens, like the Queen passing,
Yeah.
that's heard around the world, which we kind of
Yeah.
get, because obviously New Zealand
weird.
and Australia's a Commonwealth. We kind of get that, we understand that and all that jazz. But yeah, it's really odd though.
But what's weird too, though, is I'm sure if the touch wood it doesn't happen, because I don't want to be blamed for this. But say, for example, like the King of Denmark passes or the Queen of Denmark passes, we're probably not going to know about it, or it's going to be like just like this passing thing, like, oh, fortunately he died.
No, do it properly. So, and in other news today, the King of Denmark has sadly passed away, and it's
Yeah, he sadly passed away. And now we're being
And now
passed
on-
to Tom to the weather. You're like, wait, what? Like, go
Yeah.
back.
Oh no, it's that. Oh, and in other news, a Melbourne citizen has discovered that her cat can do a funny thing. And
Yeah, I
it's
know, yeah.
like,
And it does backflips. And you're
hang on a
like,
minute.
so you're just going to go from that to the cat doing backflip. That being said, that is friggin' adorable. Do it again.
Yes.
Do it again.
Do it again. But yeah.
But like, yeah, it is fun, but it's so weird. And that was the one thing that I remember going to Greece. I went to Greece and it was just like, do you want to pay tax? I was like, what do you mean, do I want to pay tax? They're like, well, if you want to pay tax, it's like an extra 15%. So you're like, so I can say no to this question and I get a 15% discount. Yes. No, I don't want to pay tax. Okay, here it is for $10 instead of 15. You're like, what?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's how tax works.
No.
And they're just like, it does
yeah.
here.
The entire situation around that was hilarious, and it was funny because we were looking at from the outside in being in Britain, where obviously, obviously most spots charge a gratitude. If you go to a restaurant, is a 10% gratuity. Fine. I find it weird how America doesn't do it. It's pretty much common around the world that you pay gratuity in most places. I mean, it's very few countries that don't do it.
Well, what's weird too, though, is that became big because the Americans did it, because it was always in movies and stuff. People pay that. But the whole reason is because, like, when I worked over there, when I was working bars and stuff, I would be making $5.50 or $6.50 an hour. And then what would happen is you'd serve, like, say, 40 beers through the night and you get $1 per beer. And then that's what would normally happen. Like, you say, yeah, it's $5 for the beer, and they normally give you $6 or give you $5.50, and you'd keep that as a tip. But it's there to subsidize the wage.
Yeah.
Which is here, it's not.
A bit, yeah, no, yeah. It's the one thing I find weird about America, where it's like, no, tipping's, it's like mandatory. They're the only country where it's expected. Oh, if I'm going to America, you've got to leave a tip.
Yeah, 100%.
Whereas the fact is, I walk into a restaurant in anywhere else, pretty much anywhere else in the world, and there's a 10% gratuity. Oh, do we need to leave a tip? No, we don't. They're already getting 10% off us. Fuck them.
Yeah. Even in Asia, it's considered rude in a lot of countries. Like, if you leave a tip in Asia in a lot of countries, it's actually considered rude.
Yeah. I know.
And that's what the weirdest thing is.
I agree.
But I'm just like, and I'm like, at the end of the day too, though, like, if I get great service, I will always leave a tip.
Yeah.
And at times you do, but like to be told that you have to no matter what, I'm like, I've had some horrible ass service in America. And like, I lived there for 6-7 months, and there were times where I got a thing on. I'm like, bro, you don't deserve things. You don't deserve like a fucking nickel, let alone fucking 20%. But then you go there and and people go there and go, oh, the food's really cheap, because like you can get like a burger and fries and some wings and stuff, and it costs you like $15. I was like, yeah, it does, but then you've got to add on 20% for their wages that they don't have to pay. And you think about it too, though. Like, if I opened a wing shop or a barbecue shop and I'm paying my staff a $5 an hour, and then all it is the food, I'm like, mate, I'm going to make a fortune.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And then I'll get my customers to pay their wages. You're like, how does that work?
No, it does. The mind baffles me about that system. I mean, funnily enough, the other funny little story I'll tell you is not movie related at all. This was on our way back from Rotorua yesterday. So obviously the other day I was going through my spam emails, as you do, doing the weekly clear out as we all, because otherwise it just gets unruly after a week.
I was gonna say, and then he just sees in Twitter, Dick Shark has followed you. Ding.
But yeah, I was going through.
And above his head it says, "Ding, new kink acquired." Damn
New
it!
kink acquired. But yeah, I was going through the spam folder, and one of them things popped up because obviously I've still got my old email account from when I was in the UK and all that jazz. So occasionally I get UK emails, which is fine. Ticketmaster popped up saying new Peter Kay tour dates. Who Peter Kay, for those of you who aren't aware, is a comedian in the UK. Last tour was about 12 years ago. He did he did have a tour booked. When was it? It would have been 5 years ago. We had tickets to that, but he got cancelled. He cancelled the entire tour. We didn't know why. We suspect it was something to do with his mum's health. We don't know. We're not 100% sure on that. But anyway, but his mum was getting quite old, so it could have been something like that. Peter Kay is very much an observational comic. He likes
the best way of putting it.
Likes to tell stories about his childhood, which is very relatable to anyone who lives in the north of England because he's from the north. Like things such as going off to Blackpool for a treat is quite common.
Nothing like some rock candy to make you feel good.
Nothing like rock candy to make you feel good. But basically, so he announced the live date, and I was like, as a curiosity, I thought, well, it would be fun if they maybe is having his shows live when we go back to England next year. And the time, there was one date, and I was like, So I messaged. Oh, I can ignore that. The wife is on it. I can hear her. Can you hear her?
Yeah, she's like, wait.
Shut up.
Don't tell me we're going.
But we. That's our old dog, as you could tell, who's defending the home with his great big bark.
Right, you don't hear it. I don't pick it up on my headset, so it's not too bad.
My mic is going through the roof. So we, what was I saying? Peter Kay. So I messaged his wife and said, "Oh, if you can see, here's the Peter Kay's touring on this date," and she went, "Get tickets." so immediately we're in agreement. The only problem is that I was like, "Great, we'll get 3 tickets and all this jazz." We met my brother-in-law message saying, "You do realise that it's for over 15s only?" So it was like, "Oh, we can't take Edward." So I was luckily the town it was on where we were gonna where we thought of, my cousins live there, and I said, "Hi, cuz." I said, "Hi, cuz. I hate to be cheeky. I hate to be that guy and be that cheeky. By any chance, if we manage to get tickets, could you babysit for the night?" And they went, "Yes, we would love to." Noah, who's my third cousin. But anyway, basically their son, who's about Edward's age, they've remembered meeting Edward and all that. It'd be great to have him for a sleepover. I was like, brilliant. So anyway, so last night, so the tickets went live last night at 11 o'clock, literally as we're on the way back from the concert. Ellie's double Ellie's double fisting to get in the queue. My queue gets in first at 20,000 people in the queue. Ellie's queue. Ellie gets in the queue at 37,000 people in the queue. This is for the same night.
And how far apart are they? Did you guys get into this queue?
By about 5-6 seconds, if that, barely that.
And there's 17,000 people.
Yeah. That's not even the funny thing. This morning it was reported the biggest queue was 250,000 people because they broke it up by venue. The biggest queue was 250,000 people.
Jesus Christ.
Now, I'll go through the entire saga. So, the entire drive back, which is 2.5 hours from Rotorua. This is a 2.5 hour. She's in this queue trying to get tickets. Luckily, my brother-in-law was in the same queue. He was trying to get us tickets, right? He got in. When he got in, when I was at like 18,000, he responded back saying, "Oh yeah, I'm 2,000 in the queue." We're like, "Oh, we might get tickets."
Jesus Christ.
He got to the front of the queue. No tickets. No tickets at all for the one day. He then released, literally as we were in the queue, more dates. couldn't get. Tried the next night. He was on the same spot the next night. Couldn't get tickets for that night. Nothing. So literally, we got back. All hope is lost. We're feeling bottom of the barrel. So we got the boy out of the car, got him to bed because it's 1:30 in the morning at this point, right? Me and Elliot going through the motions of brushing teeth, getting ourselves ready to go to sleep, and trying to get a decent amount of sleep before being woken up by dogs and boy in the morning.
Yes.
I have one random thought.
God.
The one random thought was I went through the PK website and it gave me all the different venue providers rather than going through Ticketmaster. And then I went, okay. So I was like, so I tried the Sheffield one specifically. No, can't do it. No tickets available. I then went to the only other date that's on while we're there was the London O2. Went through it via Ticketmaster. Nothing. I was like 40,000 in the queue. I was like, I'm not staying up for another couple of hours.
Yeah.
Not a chance. But it gave me another one which is direct to the venue. And of course, and they didn't have any normal tickets, but they had a VIP service. And I was like, fuck it. Click it. Oh, it comes up. Oh, how many VIP tickets do you want to buy? Want to buy 2? Nope. And I thought, a little thing popped on my shoulder said, try one. Just for fun. Tried one. One ticket available. I was like, oh. Went through and he gave me the allocation, i.e., you're in this block and this seat and blah, blah. And I thought, if I quickly open up another tab and do the same thing, and it gives me a different block and seat thing, I could book 2 tickets. Obviously, they're not sat together, but I could book 2 tickets. So that's what I did. And of course, it gave me a different one. I was like, I can get us there to London O2, literally like the last week before we fly out. She went, do it. So I went and did it. So we've managed to get 2 VIP tickets.
I don't even know how many New Zealand dollars that was.
New Zealand dollars roughly works out about $300 a piece, which is a bargain for one of the seats.
What do you get for the VIP?
Oh, VIP, you get merchandise, a drink. That's not too bad. You get merchandise, a drink, a couple of drinks, and something else, and blah blah blah. That's not the point. The fact is, for $300, one of us is sitting in pretty much he's sitting in row D on the far left hand side.
Yeah.
In the front of the stage. The other one's up in the stands just behind.
Oh wow. So you can throw shit at each other.
Ellie's already told me I'm on the floor because she's not going in the front seats. She's terrified.
Oh no, yeah. If he sees you, there's something coming at you.
So she's already told me that I'm in the front seats. So anyway, so I managed to get 2 Peter. I was like, I got them, and I have been waiting to see Peter Kay for like the last 15 years or so, and I am fucking excited, and I can't wait. So yeah, so
if they're watching this, they're gonna go, actually, you can't do that, sir, and they're gonna cancel both your tickets. Well, no.
Well, more fools on them because I took the insurance out, so they'd have to refund me all the money if they do.
Champion.
Listen, I was a guy who did insurance before COVID. I am a guy who definitely does insurance now after COVID.
No, I used to do insurance for a $5. I'm like, I'd much rather.
Oh, no, I think it was like $10 or something. Do you want to insure the tickets so in case of cancellation? Yes.
Yes, he's got a habit of cancelling. Yes, please.
Yes, please. Yeah, we've been. I did it for the first time as well. When we got tickets for the last one, it got cancelled, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it's hilarious how he's called this tour. This tour is called the Better Late Than Never tour.
Oh, that's good. I like it.
But it's funny how literally, as I said, that some today got reported on Lab Bible because of course. Lab Bible UK reported this morning when I woke up that the biggest queue was nearly 300,000 for people logging on trying to get tickets.
Yeah, no. Far out. That's insane. But we got there. We got there, people.
We got there, and honest to God, it was one of those genius little ideas that I had before going to sleep. And this morning, Ellie said, "Did you try that for Sheffield?" Just curiously, and I went, "No, I didn't actually." So I went and tried it for Sheffield this morning. No, nothing for Sheffield. Yeah. Both dates, couldn't get even 2 single tickets, not a chance. And I'm like, all right.
It's amazing that you could do that because I'm guessing what happens is people have gone, oh, can we buy 30 tickets? And then went, oh, actually, we only need 29. Or
basically, if you think about it, the people have got they limited all the tickets. So I don't know how much they limited by because obviously I didn't get that option before I got to the front of the queue. But basically, I'm assuming obviously they go, all right, the system's booked 4, 6, 4, 2, 1.
Yeah.
You know, so suddenly they're going to end up with random ones here and there.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to book 1 ticket. Oh yeah, great. Oh, I want to buy another ticket. It was like great.
So I found that when I was in London, when you go to, you know, those cheap tick places where you go see a musical or something, you'd go in there and buy 1 ticket, and 9 times out of 10 you'd buy 1 ticket. It would cost you like tenner, and you would sit like in the first 10 rows.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you're like, this is amazing.
Yeah, because that's what happens. You get a group that books 6 and another group, you know, it'd be like a 12 long seat. You get a group
and there's a
that
5
books
and a
6,
6,
and you get another group that books a 5, and there's 1 seat left, and it's like, okay, well, we got 1 seat. It's like, what do we do with this 1 seat? Because you can't rearrange the entire bloody theatre to make it so it ends up as a 2 seat, you know, because that's...
I've just got the message, hurry up, dinner's ready.
oh, right, we've been told. So anyway, much love, people.
We are sorry. My housemate is hungry. She hasn't eaten today, so she's hangry. So she's just messing with me.
God, right, well,
can you please hurry the hell up? I'm like, okay, I've been told.
Okay, we've been told. Right, so yeah, see, immediately Northern's coming back out now. After discussing Peter Kay. So anyway, I want to say a big thank you to all our recent followers and subscribers. Please make sure you do check us out on our YouTube channel. You can also follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.
And thank you for not making me buy Dick Shark stuff after watching it. It may have not been the best film, and that may have been a little bit.
Do you not think that the re-edit would have been worth it, Des?
I don't know. Well, because part of it says that it's going to be. It's going to be
bigger, longer, and uncut.
Yeah, well, it's meant to be about the props.
Oh,
and
God.
don't get me wrong, the props were like next level horrible, but I'm like, I don't know if that shark and having just naked women again and again and again, and then having a shark dick chopped off, a girl having sex, then getting attacked by a little shark in what looks like a creek, and then a shark trying to mate with a woman, and then having more naked people. I don't know if a prop's going to save that story.
I don't think so either. So anyway, let's end it there. Thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We've been your host, Jordan, here from Dorks Down Under, followed by my co-host, Dez.
From Orc Said Magic? No, I'm kidding. I just love saying that now because it's always
I know, because it's hard not to say it. Anyway, but much love, people. Thank you for checking this out, and make sure you like and subscribe and leave any comments down below.